Okay, so are you ready?
All right, so this deep dive is, well, it's about prison intrigue. You wouldn't think those words go together, but believe me, sometimes truth is way stranger than fiction.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, some of the things people get up to, even in prison. It's fascinating, really.
Yeah, and this is a wild one. Okay, so we're diving into the story of Decca. This guy decided to pull off, get this, heist with a hamster.
And it's not just some random prank either. It really gets you thinking about, what drives people to do these things, especially in an environment like that.
So for those of you just tuning in, picture this. Decca, bored out of his mind. I mean, who hasn't been there, right?
Right.
But he's stuck in prison. And his big plan, stealing the communal therapy hamster Nugget.
You can't make this stuff up. Nugget, of all things.
Right. You'd think he'd go for, I don't know, the warden's keys or something. But nope, it's Nugget the hamster.
But here's the thing. As crazy as it sounds, it kind of makes sense in a weird way. Think about it. Decca's resources are incredibly limited. But he's still got that human need for control, for agency, right?
So he saw Nugget not as this cute little fluff ball, but as leverage.
Exactly. He thought, this little guy, this is my ticket to a better life. Or at least a better life in prison.
Okay, so I gotta ask, what kind of demands are we talking about here? Did he want Nugget to get his own cell with a hamster wheel and a tiny TV?
You're going to laugh. Extra gym time, bigger portions at meal times.
Uh,
The good life, prison edition.
no way, he was serious.
Oh, he was dead serious.
That takes guts, I'll give him that. So how do you even pull it off? I mean, it's not like he could just waltz out of his cell with a hamster under his arm.
Right, so picture this. Lights out. Everyone's supposed to be asleep, right? Decca, he's tiptoeing down the hallway, probably feeling like he's in some kind of spy movie.
I can just see him trying to be all stealthy. Did he at least have an elaborate escape route planned? A map of the ventilation system, maybe?
This is the best part.
Yeah.
He basically just scooped Nugget up and snuck back to his cell.
You're kidding? All that for a pocket full of hamster?
Yep, that was the plan. Put Nugget in his pocket and wait.
Wait for what? The hamster to start negotiating on his behalf? Did he at least make a little free Nugget banner or something?
Close. He built this, luxury hamster suite, right? Toilet paper rolls, a shoebox, the whole 9 yards. Then he just waited for the authorities to show up, ready to bargain. He was ready to deal, baby.
I'm dying to know what happens next. He didn't actually think they'd take him seriously, did he?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Let's just say the guards weren't exactly rolling out the red carpet.
I bet they weren't. They probably had a good laugh about it.
Oh, absolutely. They thought it was hilarious. You can't really blame them. I mean, it's Nugget the hamster we're talking about here, not exactly a high-security threat.
So no SWAT team, no hostage negotiators.
Nope, nothing like that. They basically just let him stew for a bit.
That's kind of brilliant when you think about it. Silence is deafening,
Yeah, exactly. Ignoring him was the best tactic. I mean, can you imagine how deflated he must have felt when nobody even reacted?
Talk about bursting your bubble. But they didn't just leave him hanging forever, did they? They eventually had to deal with the situation.
No, they dealt with it all right, and they did it in the most brilliant way possible. Okay, so picture this.
Oh, I love when you set the scene. Go on.
Okay, so it's like a day later, right? And Officer Thompson, the one who found Decca with Nugget, he shows up at Decca's cell with another guard. They've got these big grins on their faces like they're trying so hard not to laugh. And Decca's probably thinking, this is it. They're taking me seriously.
This is too good. I can't wait to hear what happens next.
So Thompson, he looks at Decca and goes, all right, Decca, we've considered your demands.
No way. They actually negotiated with him.
They played it like they were negotiating, which is even better. So Thompson's like, we've decided to grant you those extra portions. And Decca's probably thinking he's won, right?
This is pure genius. What were the extra portions, though? Did they actually give him more food?
Oh, they give him extra portions, all right.
Yes.
Of cleaning supplies.
You're kidding.
Nope. And his extended gym time, that became extended toilet scrubbing duty.
I can't believe they actually went through with it. That's hilarious. What about the tea bags? Don't tell me they actually caved and gave him tea bags.
One tea bag. One single, soggy, used tea bag.
Oh, that's brutal. But honestly, I kind of admire their creativity.
Right. Talk about a psychological power move.
Yeah.
They took his demands and turned them into punishments, and they didn't even have to raise their voices.
It's like they outsmarted him 10 times over without even trying. They really played him like a fiddle. But as funny as this whole situation is, I think it's important to remember that this is a human being in a really tough spot.
Absolutely. We can't forget that. It's easy to laugh, and believe me, I laughed when I first heard about it, but it's also a reminder of how desperate someone must be to resort to something like this?
To risk it all for a hamster, even if it was just a desperate attempt to regain some control. It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does. It makes you realize how important it is to have some agency in your life, some sense of control, even if it's just over the little things. And when that's taken away, it can lead to some pretty unexpected behaviors.
Speaking of unexpected behavior, what about Nugget through all of this? Was he living the good life in his shoebox mansion, blissfully unaware of being a pawn in Decca's game? I'm picturing Nugget in this luxury shoebox penthouse, completely clueless about all the drama swirling around him.
Oh, I'm sure Nugget was living his best life, oblivious to the chaos he'd caused.
But eventually the jig was up, right? Decca had to return him.
Well, yeah, the guards weren't going to let him keep Nugget forever, even with his impressive cleaning skills. He eventually returned Nugget, probably hoping everyone would just forget the whole thing ever happened.
I bet that wasn't the end of it, though. I doubt his fellow inmates let him live that down so easily. He probably earned a whole new nickname, right?
Oh, you know it. Word around the prison yard was that he became Hamster Houdini, the mastermind who almost broke out of prison with a furry little accomplice.
I can just imagine the stories, the legends. It's kind of heartwarming, in a weird prison heist with a hamster kind of way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You've got this tiny creature, this symbol of freedom and defiance in this place where freedom is hard to come by. Hey, kind of makes you think, right?
It really does. And I think that's what's so fascinating about this whole story. We started with a hamster heist, and we've ended up talking about some pretty big themes: autonomy, freedom, the need for control.
And maybe even a little bit about empathy. It's easy to judge, to laugh at Decca's story, but when you really think about it, it makes you wonder what you would do in that situation. What lengths would you go to feel like you had some control over your life?
It's a good reminder that everyone's got a story, and there's always more than meets the eye, even if that story involves a stolen hamster and a luxury shoebox hideout.
Absolutely. And while Decca's grand plan might not have worked out quite the way he hoped, he certainly livened things up in that prison.
That he did. So for all you listeners out there, remember Decca Heggie, the hamster Houdini of prison lore.
A reminder that even in the most unexpected places with the most unlikely of accomplices, people will always find a way to strive for a little bit of agency, a little bit of control, a little bit of .t.
And on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive. Until next time.